Welcome back to the IBFP. Here's your host, Foxy New.
Welcome back, fight fans. Welcome back. Fanboys, be advised, this video contains the absolute truth and may cause hurt feelings and the need to thumbs down the video. Let's just be honest and unbiased. Terence Bud Crawford wants to be a great fighter while Errol Spence Jr. just wants to be famous. And we got to understand there's a big difference between these two guys. You know, one of these guys is a pound for pound elite fighter, and the other one wants to be Hollywood or rap star, be in the clubs, dancing, popping bottles with other men. Let's just be honest and unbiased about who these two guys are. And look, let's just break it down honestly and objectively. When you look at it, Errol Spence Jr. fought Mikey Garcia, moving up 2 weight classes, who called him out. Now, why did Mikey call him out, and why did Spence give him the fight so easily? You know, Terence Crawford's been calling out Errol Spence. Yordenis Uga's been calling out Errol Spence. You know, none of these guys have gotten a fight with Errol Spence. So why did Mikey get the fight? Because Mikey Garcia has a huge Hispanic following. Mikey Garcia would have been a relatively easier fight than Ugas or Crawford. And the fact that Errol Spence Jr., you know, he wasn't fighting Mikey Garcia for a belt. It's not strap season. These are all things we know, simply because Errol Spence Jr. just wanted to be famous. He wanted to get a fight on a pay-per-view, try to turn himself into some kind of star and be famous, but he wasn't trying to be great because Mikey Garcia does nothing for his resume. Could you believe that there's some morons and idiots that were ranking Errol Spence Jr. a pound-for-pound fighter after beating a guy moving up 2 weight classes for no belt? Absolutely stupid. We got to be honest and unbiased. And after Errol Spence Jr. dispatching Mikey Garcia, he could have unified with Terence Crawford. Was there any other welterweight in the division a pound-for-pound fighter besides Terence Crawford? Danny Garcia wasn't. Keith Thurman wasn't. And Sean Porter wasn't. But who did Errol Spence Jr. wanted to unify with it? Was it the one, you know, guy that's on a pound-for-pound list that's undefeated and a world champion, and Terence Crawford? If you wanted to be great, getting Terence Crawford's scalp on your resume would have been the biggest and best in the division, period. No, he told Terence Crawford to his face he wants to go the easy road. And the easy road almost got him beat against Sean Porter. He went life and death with Sean Porter and struggled mightily. We just got to be real about it. What happened after Sean Porter? See, you got to understand, great fighters don't clout chase. Great fighters go after the best. And what did Errol Spence Jr. say after? You know, before that fight, he came out and stated that, you know, hey, I'll fight and beat Canelo after the Sean Porter fight. So you'll fight and beat Canelo after the Sean Porter fight? Yet there was no negotiations, no offers, no talks after the Sean Porter fight. We got to be honest and unbiased. Errol Spence Jr. was talking about a fight that he never intended to take. Let's just be real about it. He's never moved up in weight and won a world title. This guy is a naturally at least 160-pounder fighting at 147. And we all know he's not fighting Canelo Alvarez at 160. We know he wasn't going to do that back then. It was simply clout chasing. You also see that Errol Spence Jr. was clout chasing Julian Williams, you know, with him and Derrick James was thinking and stating that they were serious about fighting this guy at 154. You know Errol Spence Jr. wasn't finna move up and face J-Rock after putting a smackdown on Jarrett Hurd. You knew Errol Spence Jr. wasn't going to take that chance and fight somebody his size or bigger. Errol Spence Jr.'s only strategic advantage is at welterweight, where he's bigger than most of the guys he's facing. That's all his advantage is. He's not skill for skill better than these guys. He's simply just bigger than these guys. Let's just be real about it. And then you even see Errol Spence Jr., you know, if he wanted to be a great fighter and not just famous, he would move in a different way. He would stay in the gym. He would work out. He would put time in. He would train hard. He would eat right. And no, that's not what Errol Spence Jr. from his own mouth, not my opinions, not my feelings, not what I think, but what I know is to be fact is Errol Spence Jr. stating that he got to keep his weight in control. You know, blowing up 25 plus pounds and spending his entire camp, not improving on his tactical, you know, style or anything like that. It's simply losing weight. He's having a fat camp. Let's just be honest and unbiased. And then, you know, one of the ultimate reasons why we all know that Errol Spence Jr. is simply wanting to be famous, not wanting to be great, is because he got into a car accident while he was drunk. You know, we got to be real about it. You got into a car accident while you was drunk. That's not an athlete dedicated to the sport. That's an athlete dedicated to the nightlife. And look, don't tell me that Errol Spence Jr. and Terence Crawford can't work. That's the fanboy narrative they want to push. They say, well, that fight can't happen. They're on 2 different platforms. Didn't Bob Arum propose a 50-50 split joint TV deal to make the Crawford-Spence mega fight? A mega fight? Didn't they do that for the Fury Wilder fight? Absolutely. And they're also ESPN, PBC. It's the same thing. These guys simply don't want the smoke. We got to be honest and unbiased. And you know, we got the idiot of the month quote from Derek James, Errol Spence Jr.'s trainer, saying there's no money in the Terence Crawford fight. You know, I've heard a lot of stupid things, but there's nothing dumber than what Derek James stated in that quote. Let's just be real about it. Terence Crawford has already proven that he wants to be a great fighter. How did he prove it already? He simply proved it at 140 pounds by showing that he's already a great fighter by becoming undisputed at 140. He didn't move up and just was an undefeated world champion. He moved up after he dominated the division and went undisputed. Let's be honest and unbiased. And then you also see Terence Bud Crawford has already moved up. He's a 3-division world champion. He moves up in weight classes and catches belts in different champions. His first fight at 147 wasn't a tune-up fight to see how he adjusted for the weight. No, his first fight at 147 was an undefeated world champion in Jeff Horn. Let's just be honest and unbiased. Whether you think Jeff Horn's good or bad, this is a guy who's bigger, stronger than him in a weight that he's never fought at, and was a sitting world champion. So whether you like it or not, Terence Bud Crawford is already showing that he wants to be great, that he wants to smoke. We got to be real about it. Bob Arum, you know, he already came out and stated that Terence Crawford, he wants this guy to fight Errol Spence or Manny Pacquiao next, leaving Sean Porter if he can't get one of the world champions. Terence Bud Crawford's already stated he wants the world champions, and if he can't get them, then he'll look at guys like Sean Porter, Kell Brook, whoever else is left. And let's just be real about it. Why can't he unify? Why is unification a problem when it comes to Terence Crawford, but it's not for anybody else? And Terence Crawford's already stated he wants to be undisputed at 147. See, you can believe what Terence Crawford is saying. You can take that to heart because history shows intent. Let me explain this to you. His history showed that he's already been undisputed, which shows his intent, becoming a world champion in his first fight at 147. He wants to be undisputed. He says it. He's backed it up by making that statement, by his actions. We already know what type of fighter Terence Crawford is. Let's just be honest and unbiased. And here's the body of the month. We already know who Errol Spence Jr. wanted to fight before he even enlisted, you know, in a car accident, before he even got into a car accident. Who was Errol Spence wanting to fight after he just unified with Sean Porter? Was he trying to go undisputed with Terence Crawford and you know, and then try to get Manny? No, he wanted to fight Danny Garcia for no belt. But this is strap season. This is man down. This guy doesn't want to be a great fighter. He wants to be a famous fighter. Let's just be honest and unbiased. Once again, it's the IBFP.